JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Wednesday, June 11th, 317 on this CPI day, I guess you would call it. Markets off the lows. Well, um, in the red, which the S&P was up for the first two sessions of the week and six of the past seven sessions. So not the normal trend we've been seeing. And then this is in the face of the positive, you would think positive China, U.S. developments in regards to the trade war and tariffs, the cooler than expected CPI data. To me, I think it's more of just a function of folks just consolidation, taking some profits here. I won't call it sell the news, but I guess that's the best way to rationalize it here. You have headlines. I mean, Iran. I mean, who knows with that? And then you had debt numbers in regards to the budget balance. A little bit worse than expected, but nothing crazy. So I think that's most of it here. You also have headlines around Musk and Trump, right? So a little reconciliation there, and hopefully that they can put that put that behind them, and we don't have those. I mean, just drama. Like it was like watching a soap opera. Like you're like, is this real? So hopefully that all gets put to the wayside, and now we move to the Fed, and the Fed is a week from today, the Powell will probably finishing his press conference. The market's pricing in like a 99.8% probability of no rate cut. And then now with the CPI data, and we'll get another update tomorrow, uh, folks are ratcheting up their expectations for a rate cut. So July meeting, it's like 18%. Then you go to September, August, it starts getting to 50%. So uh, good stuff. And you already had Trump this morning talking about how Fed Chair Powell should do a 1% rate cut. I mean, that'd be staggering. Like even if they did, I think it would just shock the markets in a bad way, right? You just have it have controlled. They're in control. Do a 1/4%, what have you. If you got to do 1%, then do a 1/4% over the next four meetings. I don't think they'll do that. They'll probably do the first cut in September, similar to what the start of the fiscal easing policy, right? When they first finally cut rates, but it was more of a jumbo cut. But anyway, that's kind of like the overall markets. Watching the SPY here, at 597 to 604. Sure enough, we hit highs right at the open. Well, we opened at 604, hit highs after the open around 10 or so, and then that's been it. We were chopping around 604. Then we got this afternoon pull all the way down to 600, broke 600 for a minute, and we're sitting here right at the 600 handle. So, I mean, I would love to see a gap and go and run and be at all-time highs and close at all-time highs here today. Typically, I'm some consolidation, as painful as it is, sometimes it bodes well for more upside. So that's kind of that. And then the upper Bollinger Band on the SPY is 604 and change. So, pending any crazy headlines overnight and Friday, I would just think that we're going to close 604 plus into the weekend. Also, it's funny, they have headlines too. It's like markets are pulling back as folks are looking at the specifics of the China-US trade deal. And some of it's because that rare earth, right? That's part of the big deal with that was supposed to be the big deal with Ukraine too. That China was opening the permits and stuff for rare earth, and supposedly markets are selling off because it's only for 6 months and it gives China leverage. But then, the bears would say, oh my gosh, you're slapping 55% tariffs on China, or, it was 145%, but now you're selling off because they have leverage. Like if you're a bear, if your spin on tariffs was bearish because the high tariff rate on China, you would say, well, that's good news because maybe they can leverage lower tariff rates. So it's funny. It's like tails, heads, the tariffs are bad for the market, and tails, China leverage is good for the market, right? Or bad for the market. So, all right, I don't know if that spun, if that made sense, but it's pretty much it's bad. Tariffs are bad, and leverage China having leverage on tariffs is bad. So, I mean, all right, so that's kind of the overall markets. Then some individual names. And today seemed like a good day to take profits on some names. And I wouldn't say profits, but some of the names have been on some nice runs, and they weren't like massive runs. They were slow and steady. And then when you have kind of like an elevator, you have the stairs to the upside and elevator drop, then the premiums they get crushed quick. So, well, first here is JOBY. JOBY's still in the green here, all the way back over $10 for the first time since the start of the year. I thought there'd be some follow through. Anyway, I was trying to get out at exactly a double, and the ask was 70 cents. The bid was 65. I couldn't get it out for the double. So in lieu of trying to just wait for that to happen, I locked some in for close to 100%, and then I just held the rest. I was actually looking at some October 15s, but no reason to rush. I mean, that's way out there unless I thought to be some crazy break and run here today, but still solid action. I mean, that again, another name that's up 5 days in a row. If it holds the gains here, definitely a name I'll continue to revisit for some more upside calls, because I keep saying the further along it gets, the closer it gets to revenue generation, the higher the market's just going to continue to price that in. So that's Joby. And then Lemonade, frustrating. I wouldn't say frustrating, but another name that's been choppy. Almost closed out the calls yesterday. Then I was watching this morning, and I'm like, I don't want to be in a spot where it reverses. So I closed the last of my calls out, which I closed some in to cover costs. And then, as it was coming down into the 41s, I didn't want to lose the profit. So I closed the last out for some green. And then sure enough, was it due? It embarks on a run all the way up to near 44 by 1 o'clock. And now here it's pretty much giving it back. So definitely a name I'll revisit. I was actually looking possibly for some later dated strikes, but I'm like, do I want the June 50s? I might just revisit, if it finds some follow through tomorrow. But for now, another name above its upper Bollinger Band, 41.96. So maybe just a little consolidation before the next leg. And then W, and W was over 49 at the open, was looking great, and then it just kind of like fizzled. So again, similarly, I didn't want to be in a spot where I lost the profits, so I closed the last out for over 100%. And another name I'll revisit. It's up 7 days in a row. Today's the first red day in 7 days. If you look back, I think it's up like 10 of the last 11 sessions. So definitely a name I'll revisit for a move over $50, but I'll continue to be patient there. And then some other names. So VKTX, the premiums are continuing to rise, and once it tested 30, I went and got those July strikes that I was talking about, and then I locked some of my August calls in to kind of like take some profits off just in case, because those were not in the green a couple of days ago. So the plan here is, and if you look at the chart, just on a chart basis, it's been chopping between that 26, 27, and 29 handle. So I think once that breaks, I think there's some room to the upside. So that was kind of the thought process there. And I don't think it needs data for it to at least start to break out. So in lieu of trying to get the expensive ones to encompass that, I already have the August strikes. I'll just hold the July 40s. That was the thought process there. And then finally in SERV. And similarly, I was looking at July 15th, July 16th. They're kind of expensive, even at July 18th. So went and got some inexpensive spec calls into next week. Another name, you look, consolidation, tight Bollinger Band setting up here around $14. I think if it gets over 14, it's 15 in a flash. So, and you can see some wild, I wouldn't say wild swings, but the start of May, all the way up from single digits, nice rally, and then consolidation, and then could be a potential bull flag setting up. So that's the thought process there. Roku disappointing, right? All the way up near $82 at 11 o'clock, and then it's just been melting, pulled back under $80 into the afternoon after 3 o'clock. But finding a bid here, still like this one into next week. I'll just be patient. If it shows signs of breaking out over to $82, I'll look for some more strikes there. Trying to think of some of the other names. I mean, Solar Edge, I still some freebie 30s. If I had any conviction, some of those names, like the First Solars and Solar Edge, I would add more strikes, but for now, I'll just be patient there. Travel Zoo, I was hoping for some continuation today, and that's just been chopping around. So, at some point, maybe I'll look for some more strikes there. Papa John's in the afternoon hours. It's not a name I've really followed back. The old CEO, there was a big scandal. And then that one kind of came back to life, and I'm surprised. You take a look. I mean, so that buyout offer probably in the mid to low 60s. So that stock's up about 10% right now. But I'm like, I'm surprised Domino's hasn't moved up in sympathy, and it did for a little bit, but now it's back at lows. So the thing with Domino's, only monthly strikes. I was actually looking, I'm like, if there was weekly strikes, I might have got some, but I'll pass there. And I think that's it, folks. Some of these quantum names, pretty nuts. I mean, I call Qbert, QBTS, the IONQ. So SERV is kind of like in that niche of finding the next sector that's really going to go bonkers. So that's kind of the thought process a little bit on the SERV. And at some point I do a little more due diligence. Maybe I'll do a quick video on some of the potential, right? Because if you look at SERV, I think it heads 15 plus in the coming weeks. Anyway, that's it, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back. Rock and roll.